5-0. We'll open it up for public comment. Public comment is 3 minutes. Jim, I know you wanted to be on public comment, so we put you on the agenda for tonight. We also have a public comment under section 10 or Roman numeral 10 at the end. You get 3 minutes in each of those sections. So Jim, you're up. Come on up to the podium, please.
Okay.
Just give your full name and address.
James Northlander, 750 Creek Road, Bangor, Pennsylvania, or Upper Mount Bethel, the way it goes. Okay, guys, I came here on June 10th. They asked you for help about cleaning up. Nothing's been done. 1106 Minnesinki Road. You said that if a lawyer, the guy says, if we're going to bring you to court, you guys backed off, okay? We love care, the daycare. The garage doors on both sides are ripping off. There's a dumpster right by it. You know there's rodents in it. I do too. Nothing's been done about it, okay? And then I gave you Creek Road. The siding's off of it. No problem, okay? Right here on 611, you have 2476 North. The siding's off the house, okay? 2730, 611, it's a junkyard. They say we're going to put some stuff out for a garage sale. You guys need to adopt some ordinances. Were any done since I talked to you? Nothing. When I talked to Nick, he talked to the zoning officer, your zoning officer, $45,000 last year about the We Care. Well, if I'm the only one complaining, she's not going to go up. On Indeed, Pennsylvania, for $24 an hour, you can put up zoning officers. I applied for 3 of them. They're interviewing people there. For $45,000 part-time, it would be $43 an hour. You could help Nick. Are we going to clean this up, or do I have to follow the guy in Sink Lane and say, okay, well, let's go to some law school, get a guy out of there, pay him $300, clean up the township. You don't have anybody in this position. You've done nothing. John, I came in here, I talked to you in here one day. It's a lot of, oh, okay, we're going to do it. Do we like to live like this? You guys are worried about a police department and this. Drive around your township. Up in Saddle River, Saddlebrook, it's beautiful up there. There's houses all around that are beautiful. These people are hoarders at best. You asked me to get you as many. I could get up to 10 to 25. I gave 3, June 10th. Nothing's been done. Can you answer me why nothing's been done? Nick hasn't even, no charges. The magistrate, bring them in, I'll take care of them. Nothing. I don't know why. We have children that I took certain parts there. Children with a dumpster. Go up and see it tonight. The garage is garbage. The guy said, oh, I'll have an exterminator. Isn't our job as a township, as people, to protect them? Because little babies that are running out there, it's disgusting. Okay, the other people just leave garbage around, don't care. You guys don't have the ordinances, because when I call your great zoning officer that you paid that much money every year, oh, well, you have to file this, and I don't know if the ordinances is. I talked to Nick, they're supposed to be on the books. What are we doing here? All you have to do is adopt new ordinances, let them go. Last time I was here, take the money that the magistrate's going to fine them and put them into our park. Find everybody that can't keep it up, put the money into the park. I'm not asking for us to get rich on it. We're trying to get a police department here. Where do we get the new money? If you don't want to clean up your property, this is Upper Mount Bethel Township. This isn't downtown Easton or the garbage part of Easton. It's like there's no pride. Drive around, and you guys know it. It's just, why won't you adopt ordinances to clean this up?
Ron, what's the legal issue here in trying to put an ordinance in place about an upkeep of property? I mean, it sounds like...
Well, the township has the property maintenance code in effect, and I believe that Tina is the one to enforce it, so I'm not sure what the issue is.
Thank you. Why will she not enforce it?
We don't have the property maintenance and also our ordinances that we have in place. I mean, that's what I work with. But Tina sent a letter to one that the nursery. She hasn't got. I asked her today. She hasn't gotten a response back from them. It's in the works.
June 10th, I was here.
Yeah, we sent that after that, though, Jim.
Okay, but June 10th I asked.
Yeah, we sent that after that. I asked Tina to come, but she didn't come.
But you pay her all that money, and Nikki's asking.
Yeah. Let me just finish. She's doing her job the way she feels to do her job. I speak with her all the time. I have other issues that we spoke about with Richard Road and other issues, but, I can't be at every place at one, I'm the township manager, I'm not the property maintenance officer anymore. And Tina,
You can take
she
that.
gets all the information. What she does with it is, you need to see.
I guess it was here.
Okay.
Well, these appear to be cosmetic issues, correct?
Cosmetic health issues, look at the garbage that's on it.
Well, you can't confuse cosmetic with health.
I'm not.
In this
So we're-
township, we got dilapidated farms and silos, and it's a rural community.
And I have not said one word about any farmer or business. I don't believe a farmer, it's a whole hardworking bunch of people, the businesses are too. I'm talking about people, rentals, and I'm talking about regular houses that don't keep it like any of you gentlemen do. And I passed by your houses, they're all beautiful, okay? I don't understand how this keeps going. Mr. Karasak says we have ordinances. Nick says we don't. Tina's playing the game. We do, but they're not enforced. We're playing a game with somebody we're paying. Okay? It's $24 an hour for zoning enforcement on Indeed.com. I say for what you paid her last year, you'd have a zoning officer plus for half the price of $43 an hour if you do the math. Put him as part-time and give Nick some help. Why do we have to live like this? I don't understand. You guys want to do police department, you want to do this, you want to do that. Let's go down to basics. Adopt ordinances that just say $250 for every fine. Take the money that we get, I know it's not the way it is, and keep putting it in the park. Put it in the book that you give us every year. Put it in the book, the new ordinances, give them a year to comply, and show where the fines are going to go. How come we can't do that? Get a pool up at the park, get a new stadium up at the park. But stop this. I live on a street. I keep my house beautiful. Right down the street, they keep garbage out front. And like I said, June 10th, if you made a fence law, put everything you want in the back. Okay? My dad did it. Your dad did it. They built cars in the back. When you're putting it right on the road, one after the other, go to the minutes he cleaned. Nick said last time, he cleaned up. Come on. What's a cleanup? And what do we all consider just basic cleanliness? That's all I'm asking.
All right, Jim,
Okay.
Nick, you and I are gonna meet this week, and, we'll talk about, you gave 3 property addresses.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, then let's talk about it this week and
Yeah.
move forward.
Guys, I thank you. I'm not here to hurt you, but the more we clean up the township, the better we are. And when you see what these people are taking advantage of you, how do we spend money on parks and everything else and let people do it, whether there's renters or there's owner, there has to be some pride. Sorry to take all your time.
Thanks. Okay, anyone else? Public comment? Wow, all right, move on. Roman numeral 4, consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have the September 9th, 2024 meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2024 workshop meeting minutes, and exonerations and refunds. Anyone want to take any of these 3 items and put them on the agenda for discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Roman numeral 5, financials bill list. Nick?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the general fund, we spent $440,875.63. Interim bills were $59,968.20. The rec fund was $815.82. Interim bills, ACH, $1,903.96. Fire tax, $728. The road machinery fund, we spent $8,810. Liquid fuels fund, we spent $49,063.14. RPL West Lot 1, $20.25. RPL West Lot 2, $20.25. RPL West Lot 6, $20.25. RPL East South LDP, $20.25. And land type building addition, $293.50. Clover Leaf Saddle Club is $33.75. Race Minor subdivision is a $101.25 for a total of $562,674.25. Mr. Chair, we got a vote to approve the bills.
Okay, is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion to pay the bills, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Roman numeral number 6, action items. First up is resolution 2024-22, disposition of records.
Yes, Mr. Chair, as you know, we have a comments box out there for records. We hope to get rid of those on our shredding day. But in the meantime, I went out in the garage out here, and I was able to go through and find 50 boxes of records that we can get rid of. But in order to do that, we have to pass a resolution, and we have to specify what's going with dates of these documents. So, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Mount Bethel Township, Northampton County, Pennsylvania, declaring its intent to follow the schedules and procedures for disposition of records and set forth in the Municipal Records Manual approved on December 16, 2008. Whereas the Local Government Records Committee was created by Act 428 of 1968 and empowered thereby to make rules and regulations for records disposition, and whereas the Municipal Records Manual was approved by said committee on December 6, 2008, and whereas Upper Mount Bethel Township desires to dispose of records according to the statutory requirements. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Supervisors of Upper Mount Bethel Township, Northampton County, Pennsylvania, intends to follow the schedules and procedures for disposition of records as set forth in the Municipal Records Manual approved on December 16, 2008. Hereby authorize the disposition of the following records. Number 1, payroll accounts payable from 2009 to 2016. Payroll from 2011 to 2018. Zoning hearing refunds from 2006 to 2012. Banking receipts and deposits 2011 to 2014 to 2017. Zoning hearing board and planning commission accounting 2015. Road department files 2009 to 2011. Zoning permits 2015 and 2016. Mr. Chair, I have a motion to dispose of these records as outlined in this resolution.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt resolution 2024-22?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I will.
Yeah.
Let me just interrupt for a moment, Mr. Chair. In my corner of the world, there are many times I have to go back to zoning permits that are a good way back. I'm not sure if I would recommend you getting rid of zoning permits. Applications, fees, costs, checks, but the permits themselves, I don't know, but that's your call.
And then that being said, Mr. Chair, I'd like to amend the resolution to delete item number 7, zoning permits 2015, 2016.
Now again, our illustrious secretary just said, everything however run is scanned. So if it's scanned, well then I don't have a problem getting rid of the hard
But
copies.
these are the ones that weren't scanned. These are the ones laying out loose here in the garage.
So should we scan all of them and then?
Well, I don't think you have to worry about accounts payable from, 8 years ago and that kind of stuff. I would only be concerned with zoning permits, because again, every time I have a zoning issue, what was the permit was issued for this, what did they have, what did they not have? But the other things, I don't think there's an issue with that. I really don't.
Now, there's a list of the years you have to save certain things.
Right.
But if you feel the zoning permit should be saved, then I
Or
said
scan and then get rid of
Well,
them.
we have a whole Connex box full of those that are scanned. I ran out of room to put the 50 boxes in the Connex box.
So at this time, I would just take it off the resolution, amend your motion as you did.
And I made the we amend the motion.
Okay, and I'll second it. Any other discussion? All those in favor of resolution 2024-22 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I believe that was just one box.
Yeah.
I numbered them, so I know what's in each one, so people can pick it out.
Okay, gate at the community park, Nick.
Yes, Mr. Chair, revisit this from the last meeting. I gave all supervisors copies of all of the contractor proposals, so I don't have any questions about, the individual proposals that we had. For the audience, I'll read them again, that they were, the total price for the, CoStar's price for American Fence Flag was $43,840. Triborough fencing contractors, their price was $25,560. And then the lowest price was Lehigh Valley Fence Company, and they came in $18,520.
And all three of these are from CoStars?
No, the actual Lehigh Valley Fence Company is not a CoStar, but he came way under the CoStar pricing.
And is that your recommendation?
That's my recommendation, yeah. They actually giving us more for, versus the other two. So,
And when would they get started on this?
they're all 6 week out, they're 6 weeks out, all of them.
So would they still be able to do it, say, December?
So we're in October, so November sometime, when, depending on Thanksgiving.
Do they have to dig for the fence?
What's that?
Do they have to dig?
Yeah, I mean.
So, once you get frost in the ground, pretty much.
Depending on the weather, everything is relevant,
Okay.
so hopefully they can get it in before the frost sets.
Better than the 43 one. Did you say the first one was 43?
Yeah, they're all similar, except Lehigh Valley actually giving us 12 transmitters versus the others were giving us 10. And, big difference in pricing, but I researched him, they're yoked over that, they're very highly recommended.
Okay.
That's my recommendation, is Lehigh Valley Fence Company for $18,520. And, I can give you enough, if you guys approve this, I can call tomorrow and, find out, actually, it's up tomorrow. It'll be a piece test tomorrow, but I'll get it by Wednesday. If I get a break tomorrow, I'll call him. Otherwise, Wednesday, I'll find out a time when he's gonna be able to come out and take care of it. Hopefully, again, the weather cooperates. If not, we'll have to wait.
And there was some question raised about somebody's locked inside, and we would be able to get them out.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. It has a sensor on it. As you see at the bottom, free exit, slow cut, they all do that. So you pull up to it, it's gonna open.
And does it close by a timer?
It closes by itself, it'll be on a timer.
Yeah.
There's a delay. But if you're coming in, the gate, we have, transmitters. So, like we would give one to the fire department, so they can get in if they had to get in.
Yeah.
And then they give us, that's why there's 12 of them.
Is there a manual override then?
Yeah, there's always a manual override, you can't get it if it's not working, obviously. I don't know if the state police would need one, but everybody provide one to them.
Yeah.
So, but that's why we gave it, 12 of them, which was nice of them.
Yeah, probably give it to the road crew. the
Yeah,
fire
we'll all have,
departments.
there's plenty of them, so we
Yeah.
can get in and out.
Okay.
Because when it's cold, it's only supposed to be getting in at that time, so
Yeah.
it's only us,
Yeah.
emergency vehicles.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we should note that the reason we guys put this data is there's been vandalism with vehicles running around the playing fields up there.
Yeah, and not ATVs, vehicles, actual trucks.
That we're doing
Yeah,
elements.
going up, yeah, we have to fix that once the last soccer and field hockey's the end of October. Once they end, we're gonna start, we'll put grass down, grass seed down first week of November. close the bathroom will be closed. It'll be open for Veterans Day, and then we'll close it for the winter.
Okay, and our Veterans Day celebration is, I think it's Saturday, November 9th,
Yes.
at our community park. What time, Marty?
3 to 4.
4 to 6. Yeah,
4 to 6.
yeah.
And they'll have fireworks up at the park, sponsored by Lamb Tech, and they always put on a nice
You
event.
have food trucks up there again this time?
No food trucks.
You don't have those-
Parks and Rec is gonna be selling concessions.
Okay, all right. Any other questions on the gate from any supervisors? Okay, do we have a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept the Highlight Fence Company's bid of $18,520 as outlined in the contract for a fence up at the gate, for a gate up at the park.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Well isolation waiver, Walker McCabe property, Ron?
That is before you as were, I believe perhaps in September, 2 other well waivers, one on the Rabinowitz property and one on the Frongfelder property. In fact, I just finished those agreements this week and sent them out to the applicants for signature. So this is the same thing. They're requesting that they enter into a release indemnification and hold harmless agreement with the township because their well and their septic are within the 100 feet isolation distance. And the SEO is saying that's where it would have to be. And the township requires that if that's going to occur, that the property owners enter into an agreement with the township that they can't later come back and say, well, we got sick or we had a problem because of our well and our septic system being so close together. So this is a standard, or not standard, but a routine matter to be approved. In looking at the paperwork, I had sent a note to Scott Policelli that I may need some additional information in order to complete this particular release because of the owners on the property. There looks like there are 4 owners and et cetera, but we'll worry about that if in fact the supervisors approve of the request.
Okay. Are there any questions from the supervisors?
Assume Mr. Claus, no engineering issues.
No, none that I see. Nope.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion on the floor for the well isolation waiver for the Walker McCabe property?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, Mike.
It's not 100 feet. How many feet is it
Hold on
between the well
first.
and the septic? How close is 100 feet are they?
About 55.
Yes, 55 feet, and the tanks are 80, and the tanks are 97 feet from the well, which exceed the 50-foot isolation distance, because some things are 50 feet, some things are 100. That one for the tanks, they meet that isolation distance almost by double. And all neighboring wells are outside of the 100-foot distance, so no neighbors will be affected.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Next up is Kilkenny, Palmer legal fee. Ron?
Yes, this matter is on because I had received a request from Attorney Kilkenny, who is the, I assume, the principal of the firm in which Alex Ballmer works. and Mr. Ballmer was the individual who worked for the township with respect to the incorporation of the municipal authority. Thank you. Bless you. The township supervisors had approved a fee of $3,000 to be paid to Mr. Ballmer, and that has been paid all but $240. So that would still be owed. However, Mr. Kilkenny is saying that additional work was required, and that additional work is $4,374.44. So he's looking to get paid that amount. So, you know, it's up to the board to decide what to do. I mean, again, the board, I believe, approved $3,000.
When was that approved?
I think it was, boy, hold on. I would say probably sometime in early 2023, because there was an engagement letter sent on January 31st, which was then, okay, and it was then approved on April of 2023.
Okay.
So now, I mean, I'm assuming, and I know what they say when people assume, that that $4,300 bill does not include the $3,000 that had already been paid, or not $3,000, the $2,000, what was it, $2,760. If it is, then that amount would obviously be significantly reduced. But either way, the board has to decide what it wants to do with this.
So what's the total amount he's asking for?
The total amount he's asking for is $4,374.44. Now, again, I'm going to assume that this was after the payment of the $2,760, because according to what I have from our township manager, those invoices were paid on September 12 of 2023, and the bills that I have in front of me are December of 2023. So,
When's his last bill?
his last bill
Or his last
is for
entry?
services rendered on December 6,
2023.
2023. So yeah, these bills are after the township paid the $2,700. They begin in November of 2023 and end in December of 2023.
Okay.
So it would be clearly beyond what the township approved with respect to this matter, because again, the board had approved $3,000, but your call as to
Did,
what you want to do.
do we have an agreement or retainer
According
with
to
these
what
guys?
I was told, that the additional monies were, would be paid as pursuant to a request or pursuant to an approval by Mr. Kaplan. Hold on for a second. Here's the letter I got from Mr. Kilkenny. Okay, we were assured by Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Pinter during phone calls and email correspondence that our extra work would be honored. So that's what the attorney says. So it's through phone calls and email correspondence. It doesn't appear that we have any specific contract for that extra work.
And we just said 3,000, that's it, the capped amount.
Capped amount.
Okay.
I see numerous bills in here corresponding with Mr. Kaplan. I thought we hired this attorney to help our solicitor out. And I can see that Mr. Pinter has something to say, but where does Mr. Kaplan have something to say about how we pay our bills?
Well, obviously, he would not be in the scoop. And in due respect to our former chair, Mr. Pinter, again, unless the board had approved the extra money, he wouldn't be on the hook either if he said something like that, so.
I see numerous correspondences with Mr. Kaplan.
Well, again, Kaplan was, in fact, assisting in that municipal authority deal, so your call. Let's assume that you say, no, we're not, we're gonna pay you the extra $240, although that may seem like an insult, but that's what's owed according to what I have in front of me. That gets you your 3,000. The rest come after us. You know, I know my way to the courthouse. I have,
Then it's what, let's make a deal?
you know, well, we could do that too. I can go back in and see if the board is willing to accept a lesser, or willing to pay a lesser amount. I can certainly do that, and so we can, if that's what you wanna do, we can table this, I can call him, see what he wants to do, and then put it back on for next month, and you'll know what that number is.
I'd rather go that route than, you know, let's negotiate, that's,
I would personally just like to pay him the 3,000 that we said that we would owe. And without a motion, he wouldn't be paid any more beyond that 3,000, correct?
Yes, without the, now again, he can certainly bring a claim and say, no, I was promised it, et cetera, and then we're in court and see you later, and now you're gonna probably spend more money in court and time than what's owed, but we don't know that yet. That's,
Will a motion need to be made to go up to that 3,000 amount?
No,
That was
no,
capped.
because you've already approved that, so a check for 240 should immediately be cut.
Did he say who authorized the extra 4,000?
I think Ron,
Yeah.
I'll bring you up in a
I
second.
mentioned,
I think Ron
We
said
were
that-
assured by Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Pinter during our phone and email correspondence that our work invoice for this extra work would be honored. So,
Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
Marty Penner, 39 Lindsay Lane. In regards to the conversation with Attorney Kilkenny and the law firm there, the agreement at that time was that there was going to be a little bit of overage, not $4,000 worth of overage, because of the going back and forth in terms of our drafts of the authority. That being said, if you would all want, the authority has no problem paying for the additional $4,000. We don't have a problem with that, and then it's not even on the township's hook.
that, you know, you could certainly accept that if that's what you would want to do.
I don't know, we're getting into legal issues now, so I think we should table this at this time, discuss it, and come back and revisit it at the October 28th meeting.
maybe.
In the meantime, do you want me to go back to Kilkenny and see if he will take less or not?
I would wait, I would wait.
Yeah, pay the balance of the
That sounds
200.
240,
So give him the 3,000 capped amount.
which is
and
the
just limit it.
$240.
Okay, do you wanna make that motion?
Yes.
Oh, well, you don't need a motion.
I just asked him, he said it.
Yeah, no, because he already approved it, so
Yeah.
it's just a matter of telling Diane,
All right.
got the check.
All right.
But other than that,
You good with
you're
that?
gonna make
Yeah.
a motion to table, is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I'll,
Why take it?
yeah, I mean, why even table it? We'll pay the 3,000 capped amount and leave it at that.
and it's 240, right?
Yeah, good.
So the motion has been made to pay $240.
No,
No,
no motion.
no motion is needed.
Because it's already been approved. Okay, anyone else? Okay, moving on. Roman numeral 7 subdivisions. Hot race minor subdivision, Ron?
Yes, there are, two saldo waivers to be reviewed and potentially approved, and then if that's the case, there needs to be an approval for the overall preliminary and final plan. So the waivers as noted here are that saldo section, as it notes here in number 302.4.7.8 and 400.2.9 require roadway dedication. However, the current agricultural easement on this property, because this property is in agricultural easement and farm preservation, encumbers the existing township road right-of-way so that there's no additional road right-of-way to be dedicated. And the township has recommended, the Township Planning Commission has recommended this waiver on a 4-0 vote.
Okay, so you want to do a motion to approve that first?
Yeah, we should do each one, because there may be conditions on maybe some of the others. There's only one other in this case, but,
Yeah.
and then it gets a little blurred. So I would do the motion on that first.
Okay, is there a motion on section 302.4.7.8 and 400.2.8 roadway dedication?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Coyle?
No, we don't take any issue to it.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and the final motion, or the final waiver, is section 600.4.6.2. That requires reserve septic site testing on the residual lot number 2. And basically, that is done so that in the event the system on lot number 2 would ever fail, that there would be a reserve site already approved, so the person isn't without a septic system. However, in this case, because the residual lot is 30 acres, the feeling is that there's more than enough land for a second site to be approved, so it doesn't have to be done now, and they're requesting that they be given a waiver. And again, the Township Planning Commission has recommended that 4-0.
Okay, any questions?
Mr. Coyle, any issues?
No concerns on that, no?
Okay, is there a motion for the Saldo waiver of section 600.4.6.2 reserve septic site testing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Chair, you should note that both under the municipality's planning code and the township ordinance, saldo waivers have to be put in writing in order to be placed with the township's file. In this particular case, I have prepared the recommendation and grant a saldo waiver form to be signed, and I have attached to that Exhibit A, which is a copy of a letter from the applicant's planning professional from State Line Engineering LLC requesting the waivers. So that will be part of this waiver when that time, when the documents get signed. And then as to the conditional preliminary final plan approval, the Township Planning Commission has recommended conditional preliminary and final plan approval based upon just a few conditions. Number one, that there be planning module approval and or approval of exemption, that the sewage enforcement officer reviews and approves, that there be compliance with the Township Engineer's review letter of July 16, 2024, that the park and recreation fees in lieu, or the fees in lieu for one lot be paid, that the saldo waivers that have just been granted be noted on the plan, and the plan to be signed and notarized.
Okay,
And those are the conditions.
okay. Any questions?
Once again, Mr. Coyle?
No issues, no.
Okay. So you need, Ron, for this, you need a motion for the final approval?
Need a motion for, conditional preliminary / final plan approval.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I didn't even see you there. Are we all good?
If I don't have to talk, it's all the better.
I have some forms that I'll send you to sign.
Okay.
I'm even here.
Oh, Mr. Else even here. Okay, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Roman numeral 8, land development, land tech expansion. Ron?
And again, these now are similar to what we just did or not. These are waivers. We are not yet at the conditional preliminary or final plan approval stage, so we're just talking about waivers. And the first waiver is a waiver that we have done, when I say we, the township has done in the past, under section 304. When you have a land development plan of some significance, normally the saldo requires that you file a preliminary plan. That plan goes through the whole entire process for review. It gets approved, and then you file a final plan after that for any final cleanup on the plan. Here, the applicant is requesting that the plan be reviewed as both a preliminary and final plan, on the basis that doing two plans or two reviews really won't add any helpful information to the township to consider, and the waiver was recommended by the planning commission vote of 5-0. I don't know where Mr. Coyle is, because I know sometimes he's not big on having the plans lumped together, but you can ask him that question, but that's the first waiver.
Okay, Justin?
Yeah, we didn't take exception to this request. It is a existing building, and they are proposing an expansion to the building, so we felt that for all intents and purposes, the preliminary final would be okay, given the, if you want to say, the minimal amount of proposed construction compared to what's there now. So we were okay with that, combining preliminary and final.
Okay. Do we have a motion for Saldo section 304 plan review preliminary final?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, the second one is Saldo section 304.3.4.3.4. The Saldo requires that the location of man-made features on the site and within 100 feet of the site be noted on the plan. Here, a partial waiver is being requested as the existing facilities are being shown. The additional information requested, especially when considering the topography, makes literal enforcement of the ordinance unreasonable, and again, we're dealing with, as the engineer said, a plan that is not the same as a full-blown build-out, if you will. And the Township Planning Commission has made a recommendation for that approval unanimously.
Okay. Any questions?
Once again, Mr. Coyle?
No, for the same reasons, and a partial waiver is being requested. We don't take any exception to it.
Okay, is there a motion for Saldo section 304.3.4.3.4? Got tired of saying that one.
So moved, so moved, so moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So, this just is saying that any man-made features within 100 feet of the site are depicted within that map.
Correct.
And they're saying that
Or on the site, yes.
they're asking for a partial waiver because the topography is too hard to traverse, to figure out.
Yes, that's my understanding, yes.
You got the engineer if you have any questions.
Yeah, you can elaborate if you so choose.
Is there any way to take an aerial picture to find out what exactly would you be looking for? Just stone rows or?
Well, it's minimal, actually. It's mostly because all the work is on the north end of the site. Anything affiliated with that existing features, i.e., let's say water lines or fence lines, will be shown in that area where we're doing work. Where we're not doing work, going off the site and everything else like that, like Justin said, we take that and we say, hey, that's, what do we need to go out 100 feet for that?
Yeah, I find 100 feet a bit far.
But it's an area typically where we're not doing the work, where we're not, topography is such that it's off-site or let's say downhill, because if you recall the area along River Road, it's kind of steep there. So any areas where we're doing work and tying in any way, shape, or form, absolutely we will have that.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion on, there is a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ron?
All right, the third waiver is section 4.704 of the ordinance that requires man-made slopes are not to exceed a 3 horizontal to 1 vertical slope. the slopes in the vicinity of the eastern driveway exceed the 3:1. A similar request was made to the zoning hearing board, and a variance was granted for that. So considering the nature of the existing topography, if there are any variances or variations, they will be de minimis and will be properly stabilized. And again, this waiver was recommended by the Township Planning Commission on a vote of 5-0.
Questions?
We didn't take any issue with this request. It's a localized area. It will have to be stabilized via erosion control matting or some type of rock riprap, so we'll have to address that during the final design. And then it does go through the Fenton County Conservation District as well for E&S control, so we feel confident with this waiver. They also went to the zoning hearing board, as was noted, so this has been scrutinized over and over.
Okay, is there a motion for Saldo section 4.704 man-made slopes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ron?
Yes, the next two are dealing with stormwater ordinance, again, that also permits a waiver under certain circumstances. And this you may have to speak with either our engineer or with the applicant, because it seems to be a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but the section 307.J requires supporting documentation to verify the rainfall data that is being used for the stormwater calculations. The most recent Atlas 14 values, whatever they are, have been utilized, and a waiver has been requested to use this data as it is more conservative and practical in all water quantity, and rate calculations. Again, this waiver was recommended by the Planning Commission unanimously.
We don't take issue to this. They're using the most up-to-date stormwater data, which is basically more current than what the Saldo basically provides for. So it's a conservative approach, which we recommend.
Okay, any questions? There's a motion on the floor for stormwater ordinance runoff calculations.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ron?
All right, and the final waiver is a stormwater ordinance section 403.B, like in boy, .10, that requires contours to be provided at 2 feet intervals on the plan. Here, a waiver is being requested to provide contour intervals at 1 foot, but labeled every 5 feet. The applicant believes this provides more detailed information, and again, this waiver was recommended by the Planning Commission on a 5-0 vote.
Since they're proposing to provide an interval which exceeds the Saldo requirement, we don't take any issue.
Any questions? Is there a motion for waiver section 403.B.10 storm water ordinance final contours?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, Roman numeral 9, new business, 2021 IMPC.
Yes, that follows in what Mr. Merklinger was discussing when he was here about ordinances. I'm not sure who's asked me, I just don't remember right now, but Tina has asked that the property maintenance code, and IMP is the International Property Maintenance Code, that the property maintenance code for the township be updated. I think we are using the maybe 1996 property maintenance code? 2006? 2006, okay, so then I'm way off in that regard. But she would like the new code to be adopted by the township, so if that is the case, I would have to prepare an ordinance and of course, make sure that the variables are reviewed and approved by the board before the ordinance is advertised, and then proceed to advertise and adopt the ordinance, so.
Okay, are there any questions from the supervisors?
Or how are we gonna go about updating this ordinance? Are there gonna be any more standards, or we just have to say, we're gonna take the old ordinance and up, and
Well, the ordinance has some variables that have to be decided. In other words, how do you want height of grass? How do you, whether you want screens and windows and things like that. So I have to make those changes. Now, they are there already, but they're just revised, updated, probably a little bit more current by way of language, et cetera, to make sure that's what the board wants to do. Because I've done this in other boroughs and towns, and you know, in boroughs that say, well, we're not gonna put 6 inches of grass. That's ridiculous. We're not gonna do it. You know, we're not gonna force someone to do that, or if someone wants to put their sofa out on their front porch, we're not gonna force them to get rid of it or whatever. Those are calls that you guys have to make as social calls as opposed to legal calls.
So this IMPC, is this a guideline or is this law?
No, this
or
is an ordinance. It's a 30-page fine print ordinance.
if issued from the state?
No, it's issued from the International Building Code and other people like that, International Architect Codes, et cetera. But again, we have one in effect already that is very comprehensive, that is very thorough, and has, again, 20 or 30 pages of document of writing. So when we are said, well, we don't have an ordinance that can do some of this stuff, I think we do, but I don't know exactly what are the issues that were put before you.
Yeah.
And Tina has recommendations that she would like to see added?
No, she just gave me the book and said do it.
I think maybe the supervisor should get a copy of that. We can go through it and see if we have any recommendations, and then
That's
Present
fine.
them
It's,
to you.
again, it's about 30 pages of fine print, so you're gonna have to, it's at least a couple of beers or a couple of cups of coffee. as
Oh, we
you
can
read
arrange
through it,
that.
so.
And the enforcement officer is Tina?
Tina, right now, I believe under our present ordinance, yes. It is her. We don't have this, we don't have a specific International Property Maintenance Code enforcement officer. We did when Nick was not township manager. He was the actual officer that was directed to enforce, there's just the International Property Maintenance Code, not the zoning ordinance or those kind of things.
It's almost comical that it's on here because Jim was up here previously stating the
So if
homes
you
that
want to appoint
violated.
someone different for that, you certainly can. It's just a matter of then who you're gonna appoint, how much you're gonna pay, and what hours you expect.
I know that
them to
when I
work,
had
et cetera.
tenants up here in Mount Bethel, my first soiree with the supervisors was I was getting a $500 fine for excess cars on my property that I had tenants at, which I evicted the tenants and moved into the house myself. So I know that we do have something that's there that we can enforce. I would definitely like to see what she would like to put forward, but if we're not adhering to what we have now, putting something else in place seems kind of a waste.
Well, it wouldn't be something else, it would be in place of.
Which is more comprehensive, but we're not even following what we have.
Probably could
It's
be
more comprehensive.
Yes, Steve.
Bob Cartwright used to be the zoning officer, and he went around and he knowed that ordinance, and he had everybody to the T.
You just have
He
to
was
slip
also
him
the
an envelope.
manager,
That
which
was
is a
it.
big
Better believe it.
That was all you had to do, is slip him an envelope.
Yep. Yep.
So,
So I have here, Mr. Chair, that I'm to send copies of the ordinance to the supervisors, and then, assuming you table it for this evening?
yeah. And does the 2021 property code, does it tell you what it's updated from the last
And
version?
it doesn't really, it just says here it is, but I mean, I'll take a quick peek and try to match it up a little bit, but
There are other versions.
Now,
Can you also send us the current version so that we can review
well, you
it?
have the ordinance here, you can get a copy of the ordinance here, but I could send you a copy of that too, so that's no problem.
Now, are we required, from the way you were discussing, are we required to follow the IMPC, or we can deviate
You
from
can
it?
deviate from it if you want to.
Yeah.
That's your call.
Yeah,
And that's my understanding of what you might want to do based upon what Supervisor Friedman has asked, that a copy of that document be sent to everyone.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Again,
that's a good
I've
idea.
had other townships and boroughs to say that the IMPC is too draconian, it's too, we're about putting screens with a certain amount of distance between each square or whatever. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna be that specific.
Sounds like an HOA.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Okay.
it's all areas, it's, fire, property, electrical, plumbing, this, that, et cetera. And in fact, I used one in East Bangor to condemn a place.
Okay.
Because it was not following the IMPC that East Bangor had, and it was condemned.
Okay, so Ron will send that to us. I would say take like, let's say like a month to look it over. I'm not, we won't put anything on the agenda yet. Let's wait until the supervisors are ready. But I'll go ahead and make a motion that we table this for tonight.
Second.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Mount Bethel Fire Department truck. Nick?
Yes, Mr. Chair, as Mr. Chair and Supervisor Dave Friedman, we sat down with Mount Bethel Fire Department, and needless to say, we have to, we're on the hook for another truck for Upper Mount Bethel. Their truck that they have is 20 years old, and their engine's in bad shape. There was money that was from the COVID money that was split, $367,000 to each fire department. North Bangor got their truck. Upper Mount Bethel finally made arrangements to acquire a truck sooner than we thought. Miscommunications, what have you, but we're at this point where we need to come up with $865,400 by probably March or April of 2025. I researched this with our former township manager, Rick Fisher, that dealt with the North Bangor truck, and it was stated then that Mount Bethel didn't need a truck at that time, that they could wait 10 years and get a truck. We paid for the North Bangor truck, and we have 3 more payments left. I budgeted this year for the payment for the North Bangor truck, so we would have 2 more payments left. This truck here, since now that we are getting it before all our CDs that we put in, people remember, we have 3 CDs that we split this money up for, and that's where the miscommunication was, but I've targeted this with the leasing company that we had before with North Bangor, which we still have. They've done a great job. They put everything together. They're very receptive. Their rates are better than the one that actually the fire department gave me. The other person couldn't come down to the rate. Their rate was like 6.9. They came down to 6.1. This community leasing that we're dealing with North Bangor, they're at 4.8, so it's much lower. The other company wants us to have a down 10% upfront cost of $86,000 for the truck, otherwise they wouldn't give us the financing. Community leasing says we don't need it, because we have good credit with them, we don't need that, so we just, if the money would come in March and April, we'd be able to pay it off. No payment would have to be made. However, the Mount Bethel Fire Department needs to apply for a PEMA loan. PEMA loan is set up for fire departments from the state, and it's a 2% rate. It's for 20 years. The rate, the amount right now just went up, it's $318,881. So, we've instructed them to apply for that loan. The township has nothing to do with that loan, except we'll be on the hook to pay for it, which would be $1,613 a month, okay, after the money is received. So once the funds are funded to us, we'll be making a payment to community leasing, probably applying it in October of 2025, because it takes a minimum of 9 months to acquire these loans. We have to hire, they have to hire somebody to apply for these loans, very complicated. They have to hire somebody, they charge $995. The former person that Mount Bethel gave me, she's very nice, very thorough, but she charges that fee. With community leasing, they're paying it out of the financing, so we won't have to pay that fee. It comes out of Dave Fikes. They're gonna assume that payment. The cost of the truck is not gonna change. So that's another positive. So in the end, we're again gonna be on a hook for another truck for 10 years. So what I plan on doing is using those CDs as they mature. I know it's a lot of information. As they mature, so $200,000 will be paid, will be the first payment for Upper Mount Bethel, which will be on October 1st, 2026, because the last payment will be, the last maturity date is September of 26. So we will have all of that funding available to us. What I want to do is, we're paying the first payment of the $70,000 for the North Bangor truck. We're gonna pay that one this year out of our budget. There will be a little bit of money that probably will be paying because of the HEMA loan, which is the 1613. So the back payment will be made of October 1st, 2025. That's the first payment, because that's gonna go right into that loan. So we might be in a hook for like maybe $3,000 to $6,000, depending if that loan comes in early. Because remember, once you get the loan, once it's funded, you have a month to make the first payment for that. Neither one of these, either one, the lease or the payment is, if we pay it off early, there is no penalty. You can pay it off early. The community leasing is 10 years. The PEMA loan is 20 years. So, in all, our payment will be $55,000 for 10 years. For the truck, we're paying $70,000 now. So, when you add in the 1613.
Who's paying $70,000 now?
We are.
For North Bangor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But following this payment, we're gonna make one more payment in North Bangor, and in 2026, we're gonna start paying the Mount Bethel truck. I'm gonna take that last CD, what I wanna do is take that last payment from the CD, pay off the 2 payments of the North Bangor, so now we only have one loan, which will be $70,000 again, because you gotta add in the 1613 every month that we pay to the payment of the 55, so it'll be about $75,000 a year, which will be 9 payments. So
Okay.
that's, I know it's a lot of information. I'll answer questions. I know I gave it to all supervisors. If they have any questions, anybody in the audience have any questions? But moving forward, we'll be able to have a truck for 20 years for Upper Mount Bethel, from Mount Bethel, because their truck that they have right now is not gonna make it. So that's where we're at, to keep it community safe. North Bangor has 2 trucks that are new. They are actually paying off their brush truck, so they have a new truck they're paying off, and then we'll have this truck here.
Chief?
Good to see everybody. First of all, sorry I haven't been around. A new job and family life has been crazy, but good to see everybody. So I approached Mr. Birmingham, Mr. Graziano. Generously, you guys gave us the COVID money. When we were going to finance our truck, we estimated about 5 payments for the truck. So I wanted to start the dialogue now of, hey, we're gonna need help in the future, because we pay $30,000 of our own, we fundraise, we do that, we pay $30,000 every year for our brush truck. We are in a different position than North Bangor. All of our frontline apparatus is 20 years old. We don't have anything newer frontline than 20 years old. If you include the brush truck as a frontline, then that's newer. But our main, our rescue, our tanker, and our engine are all 20 years old. So that's why we really pushed to get this engine. If we were to sign for it today, it would be around 1.3, 1.4 million if we were to order that truck today. So it's a good thing we ordered it about 3 years ago. But I wanted to get the dialogue started now, and what was said to me is, hey, let's really sit down and talk right now, because we only have a couple more payments on North Bangor's engine that we paid for them all these years. Maybe we can figure something out. And Manager Graziano was awesome to do the legwork on this. Thank you again. I greatly appreciate it. But our engine now, perfect example, the gas tank fell out of it. We had to use a ratchet strap that we have on the truck to strap it up and continue going. So imagine going to a fire and our gas tank falls out, and God forbid there's somebody we have to rescue or something. The thing has just been giving us problem after problem after problem. So it's a good thing we have a new one on order. And no matter what happens, thank you guys for your support all these years. Without you guys and the residents, we wouldn't be around. It's just, unfortunately, we cannot afford anything nowadays. This price of firefighting equipment and apparatus is insane. So if anybody has any questions, we are here. Members of the fire company are here for you guys to answer any.
Chief, it's good to see you. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you coming around,
Thank
and
you.
football as well.
Hopefully I'll be around more, yeah.
Okay.
And the new job, I was able to stay, didn't have to move, thank God.
Yeah.
So I work for the city of Allentown now, so
Yeah.
thank God.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
Any questions?
Yeah, this is just an engine, it's not a multi-role in any capacity?
What do you mean by multi-role?
I know that I did go to you guys,
Yeah.
checked out your equipment.
Yeah.
You did tell me about the gas tank falling off.
So this is just a standard engine, there's nothing special about it. We did get more water put on it, we have 1,000 gallons on our current engine. We went up to about 1,200 gallons, just for that little bit extra if we were gonna need to be fighting a fire before we get a water supply. That couple hundred gallons may make a difference. So that's about the only thing. It looks a little bit longer, but it's pretty much the same thing we have now. There's nothing special about it.
Okay. Are there any grants that we can apply for to try and cover any portion of this?
Really, the only grant that is available is the FEMA grant, but we've applied for years for that, and they constantly deny us. All those grants are going to the cities.
So AFG.
Yeah.
The AFG.
Yes.
And Nick, what do you need a motion from us?
I need a
for
motion to
tonight?
move forward with, obviously I don't have all of the contracts and everything. I need to file for the applications, give them the go-ahead so they can go with the FEMA loan and FEMA, right, FEMA, sorry. The FEMA loan, and once I get everything together, we'll have to put a resolution together, I guess, unless Ron has a different opinion on that. I need to have the okay to vote to move forward. Well, the loan, yeah. I have to apply for this loan, like their FEMA loan, they need to get rolling on that, because that's gonna be due in October, and hopefully by then we'll have it done. But working with Dave, he assures me that that's not a problem. They know that money's coming. The bank knows that money is coming. Once they get their application, if there is a hitch, and it goes into 13 months, we're not on the hook for it.
And the total price is $865,400?
Yes,
That's what we would be paying.
that's the total.
That's above the 367, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be put into that payment to bring our payment down. Their payment is 1613, so in effect, we can't even pay it out of our account. We have to give that money to Mount Bethel Fire Department, and they have to pay it.
So
We can't pay
are
that
we
money.
talking about paying 500,000, or are we talking about paying 1.?
No, we're talking about paying
3 million.
865,400. That's the total.
So, and then we'll just need You know, I would think if we're paying, if I understand this correctly, and the township is paying for the truck, but the way we have to do it is give the money to the fire department, and the fire department then pays the loan company?
No, that money that both monies funding will be forwarded to, you guys buy it from, Glick Fire Company?
Correct,
Right,
yes.
they're the ones that
Glick.
are the broker.
Yes.
So that money goes, the PMO money can go to them,
To Glick?
yes.
Okay.
And this funding money from community leasing will go to Glick, so the truck is paid off. Our name and their name will be on the title of the vehicle because they're getting funding from FEMA, otherwise
Yeah,
they
yeah.
won't give us that money.
Okay.
So the total amount is going to the, Glick.
Yeah, okay.
Again, the total is the 865, 400, but that COVID money, all of that COVID money, or whatever,
Right.
whatever
That's
is
used
going
for this.
towards the engine. It's
Yeah.
not the 865 on top of the COVID money.
Right.
Yeah, so the COVID money is going towards the engine,
Yes.
or towards paying off whatever remainder Nick deems needs to be paid
Yeah,
off.
the North Bangor
Yeah.
truck.
And I know that after speaking with North Bangor, they were disappointed that they got their truck from a location that seems to, I know that Stroud Township had problems with their truck when they got it from the same manufacturer. Are you guys using the same, or are you?
No.
Totally somewhere totally different, right?
Totally different.
Okay.
And when is their first payment due again?
Their payment will be due the month after the money is funded. So if it's in October, November, we would have to start making our first payment. So the first payment they made will be October, because we're giving
Yeah.
a little bit more leeway, just in case it's not 9
Yeah.
months, it's 10 months, 11 months,
Okay.
what have you. So if it does, we do make that payment in October, we would have to make 2 payments out of this year's
Yeah.
budget, I'm sorry, 2025
Yeah,
budget
yeah.
of the 1613, so
Yeah.
it'll affect $3,200.
Okay, so basically, a motion could be, the motion we need to make is to approve you as township manager to move forward on all documents and information needed to purchase the engine truck for Mount Bethel Fire Company in the amount of $865,400.
Correct.
Okay,
Because then once I get all the information, I guess I give it to Ron, to put a resolution together with all the, with the leasing paperwork and the payment for paperwork, put it all in a package, I guess. If Ron wants to speak to
I
that.
don't remember what was done with the North Bangor truck, but I mean, anything over 125,000, you need to get PADCE approval. In the Local Government Unit Debt Act, you have to get approval by that state agency to incur any debt. So I hope we did that for the North Bangor truck, because if we didn't, that could be an issue in case there's an audit.
Yeah, I'll talk to the auditors, I guess. That's through the auditors, I guess, Ron?
Well, I don't know if it would be through the auditors, but DCED requires, again,
Yeah,
any
DCED,
loan over
yeah.
125,000 be approved by them. Your accountant does various calculations to determine what is the borrowing base, how much the township can afford to borrow, how much they can't afford to borrow. That gets put in a resolution that's advertised, and then it gets sent to DCED for approval, et cetera. Again, I don't know if we did that for the North Bangor deal or not. I mean, if it's a loan for us, we need to do that. If it's a loan for the fire company, or if we're just giving the
Yeah,
fire
that
company
loan-
money, that's a different deal.
Yeah, that loan
We're
is.
talking about a loan where
total-
the township is borrowing money more than 125,000.
Yes, we are, yes, we are.
And I have another, is the truck gonna be in the township's name or the fire
Both.
company's name?
Both,
Both.
yeah. I mean, in effect, they will have the truck after the loan is paid off, it'll be in there. There's a dollar payment every month, there's a lease payment.
Yeah,
$12, there's another line item on the budget.
So if I remember correctly, for North Bangor, that was done before I was on the board, but after I came on, I wanted to look at it for a variety of different reasons. number one, if I remember correctly, the North Bangor fire truck was purchased by North Bangor in terms of their loan. The township happened to pay for it, and the reason for that was, one, the township, at that time, the board did not want the township's name to be on the loan. Otherwise, we'd be on the hook for any liability going forward. So that was the reason why we didn't put the loan in, and our name was not on the truck, because of prior instances where there was an accident and we were held liable because of that. So that was, we removed the township from the liability from the North Bangor pumper truck, the first one. The second one, they bought with their COVID money and are picking up the payments themselves on the second, I guess, the tanker truck for that. So that was the reason why we didn't, Ron, have to go and get the approval, because the township did not take on the debt. That was done through the local.
Now that you're remembering that, which is a much better memory than I have, then I'm okay with it.
Paperwork, because everything on this is up on top of it, but I don't know, I could check it out tomorrow with Diane, she has the file.
Okay, yeah,
We
that's,
leased the truck to North Bangor.
yeah, that's how I remember it.
We make
as
the
well.
payments,
Yeah,
it's in our name, we pay the insurance,
yeah.
we pay everything, and we lease it to, yeah.
As long as
It's
the
our
township
truck.
wasn't got a loan to pay that, that could, however else you wanna do that, that's fine. Good.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Ron Angle, $1 Million Highway. Two things. One is the FEMA thing, the federal government's FEMA's broke, but I realize it's a formality to apply there. But what concerns me is the fire companies do an excellent job. It's one of the greatest things we have here in the township. But if you're going to be financing this or leasing it over such a long period of time, when they've already explained to you most of their main equipment is already 20 years old, I'd like to see the township come up with a bigger chunk of money so that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, when they're going to need additional equipment, they don't have such a level of debt. Because as they said, most of their main equipment is 20 years old. And a lot of it's, not in the greatest of shape. And they keep it going through hard work and dedication. But I think you're taking on too much debt, number one, and that debt is going to adversely affect the fire company, because they are going to need other equipment in the next 15, 5, 10 years. I mean, it's 20-year-old equipment. So I wish you would consider that. I mean, it's one of the greatest things we have in the township is our volunteer fire company. But to be a fire company, you need good equipment.
That's why both loans, we could pay them off without any penalty, so.
I understand that, and I understand the investments where you
The
have
truck, unfortunately, there was a USDA loan, there's grants, but by the time you apply for that, it's not gonna be in time to pay for this truck.
Why don't we increase the fire tax
Thank you very much.
to cover this, and keep it out of the general fund?
Yeah.
Well, that's something we can discuss.
I mean, you've got time to put that on a referendum, and the folks can vote to, so that the fire tax helps supports both fire companies.
And the public, I'm sure, would vote overwhelmingly in favor of that.
Yeah.
That we have a great fire company, but they need equipment. And they need equipment that, when they start it up, it runs and they can get there. But again, a great idea, put a fire tax on it, then they've got dedicated money. They know what they have coming, and they can plan that in their budget with their equipment.
We already have a 1% fire tax, so maybe we just increase it.
It should be
It just
increased.
needs to be increased.
It needs to be increased, at least 2 or 3%, maybe even more. But again, one of our greatest assets here is those fire companies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
In the past, the fire company was supported by the EIT money. Is there a way that we can take a portion of the EIT money and put
It's
it
not
towards the fire
supported by the
company?
EIT, I don't know where that number comes from.
No.
Never. EIT, the only thing that's supported by EIT is open space, and it's 0.125. And the rest goes to the township.
Yeah, I think we should talk about this and the supervisors at an upcoming meeting, because there are ideas. But I agree. I mean, I think the points are well taken. These guys, need equipment, and it's gonna keep coming and coming.
You need a plan for the future.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
unfortunately, this truck isn't gonna be in our hands in April,
Yeah.
so.
Just one more thing, if the loan is the way that you guys want to go about it, I would even take a look at floating a municipal bond, so that at least we're protected by it on the back end for the bond issuance. Okay, so I would definitely want to limit the liability in terms of the cash and do it by a bond.
All right, well, let's,
When's this township ever done a mini bond?
Right.
When? For
Not
15,
mine,
27
years.
years. Exactly. No one's ever done it.
So we've been alone.
You know, no one's ever put that as hope, now we're gonna do it.
It was only alone.
And that's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of, it takes time. We're at a crossroads here at April, that we need to have that money.
Right.
The government's not gonna, it takes time. I tried, I pulled the USDA, they didn't even call me back. It's a joke.
okay.
We have to get this done for them, and Marty brings up, and Ron brings up a good point, we gotta prepare for the future. $865,000 is a big nut for us to take, but you're gonna add 3% onto everybody's taxes? They can't pay the garbage bill. You know, where are we at?
What I think we should do is sit down with you guys, like Chief and Joe and, you know, whoever else, you wanna bring, Scott as well, and do the same with North Bangor, and maybe you do North Bangor, and you could do Mount Bethel, or whoever, and, just find out from each fire department what's coming up, what's breaking down, what are you gonna need new, you know, within
Yeah,
the
we
next
would need
year.
a list of projected equipment replacements.
And then
go
we,
from there.
and then we can decide, hey, we should increase the fire tax or not.
I have no problem doing that. I've given you guys a 5 and 10 year plan before. I've been in front of you guys multiple times about this issue since I've been fire chief in 2014. I projected this to, and you guys weren't around, but I projected this to the township in 2014 saying within 10 years both fire companies are going to need stuff, where it's going to be big price tags, and we got to start planning now. It started that way, and then unfortunately it said, you know, you have too much money in the fire tax, you need to start spending it. So then both fire companies started spending it on stuff, and then the fire tax changed a little bit. But this truck wasn't supposed to be delivered until the beginning of 2026. Now it got pushed back to 2025, or brought forward, pushed up, thank you, to 2025 of right around March, April, they're telling us. And there might be a little bit of delays, but there's no more supply chain delays, they said. It's just the issue of how many trucks they have, and our truck is gonna be on the line soon, and once it's done, it's done. So, you know, we're, like he said, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place now. We do have that COVID money, but we gotta secure the financing.
Okay, thanks. So
Thank you.
basically, to help out Mount Bethel Fire Company, we need a motion, if someone wants to make a motion on having Nick move forward on gathering the correct documents and information in order to purchase this engine truck for $865,400.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
I just wanna make sure that with us taking out a loan of over 100,000, we're not breaking the law.
I'm gonna move forward, Ron, and I'll speak to our accountants, our auditors, and I will get the DCED.
The motion is to have Mr. Graziano start the application and get the process together. You're not making a motion yet for the loan because you can't until such time as DCED approves. Well, you can make a motion, but you can't get the money until DCED approves.
Ron, forgive me, I just didn't write down what you said, the DCED needs there was something else you said.
The act is called the Local Government Unit Debt Act. Local Government Unit Debt Act.
Okay.
That requires DCED approval for municipal bonds, loans,
Right.
any, notes, anything that the township is borrowing, it has to be reviewed because they need to make sure that townships are not borrowing more than they should.
I still think we should get together, even with him proceeding forward, we should get together to make sure that we are covered for the future, given what they may need. And let's hammer it down, and let's get a plan organized and set forth the next 5 years. I know that North Bangor has a lot of new equipment. They utilize the money that the town gives them very well, from what I saw. Going to Mount Bethel, I saw that not only is their equipment and their truck, but the building is falling apart. So these are some serious issues
So is ours.
that we need to go forward with.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, there's been a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. Any other questions or concerns from the supervisors?
And they're okay with the $995 to apply for the loan, right? That'll be, okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, guys.
I'll update a new 5 and 10 year plan. I'll make a new one. I'll update the one we have, and I'll get it to you guys with equipment and projections and all that stuff.
Okay, and thank you guys for all that you do.
Chris, when you do that, can you maybe put some projected fundraising stuff on your end as well? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is a traffic study. This is in terms of your report, Justin, on the traffic study for Potomac Street and Railroad Avenue. So if you could just give us a quick summary.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. You should have our report dated October 7th. This is for the roadway traffic study, as requested by the board for Potomac Street and Railroad Avenue, near its intersection with 611. So we performed a load posting evaluation, traffic study, Potomac Street, Railroad Avenue. The stretch of roadway extends from the intersection of Railroad Avenue and $1 Million Highway, Jacoby Creek Road in the northwest, to the intersection of Potomac Street and Sunrise Boulevard in the southeast. The study is regulated by Title 75 Vehicular Code, Chapter 67 Pennsylvania Code, Chapter 189, and the policy PennDOT Publication 23, Chapter 15, weight restrictions on highways. We also filled out a PennDOT TE 109 form, engineering and traffic study for restrictions as to the weight, size, kind, or class, or type of load based on highway, bridge, or traffic conditions, and that's included in attachment A. So the purpose of this study was to basically evaluate the existing conditions and then see if a load posting was justifiable, was warranted, and then use this in conjunction with an ordinance to be ultimately drafted by the solicitor to post this stretch of roadway in the township. Just moving further along, the roadway characteristics, Potomac Street, Railroad Avenue is a local road located in Upper Mount Bethel, with posted speed limits of between 25 miles an hour and 35 miles an hour. In addition, there are existing 3 speed humps with advisory speed signs of 15 miles per hour along the stretch of Potomac Street. These humps are approximately 800 feet, 2,200 feet, and 3,000 feet south of the intersection with SR 611 and Potomac. The speed humps also feature flashing warning signs. And then you can go through, I won't go through all the infinite details of it, but it goes through the tables, the charts, it lists all the types of roads, the controls, and the various notes. Page 3 gives you an existing conditions layout. There's some pictures we took along Potomac Street, Railroad Avenue. You have that for your information. And then based upon our study, the conclusions and recommendations, we conclude that Potomac Street and Railroad Avenue are eligible to be posted for weight restriction between the intersections of $1 Million Highway and Sunrise Boulevard based on the following. Both roads are local, lightly traveled roads with narrow cartways with very little or no shoulders in most locations. Most properties are along the corridor of private residences. Restricting the heavy trucks would increase safety as the cartway is relatively narrow, and there is limited sight distance available at the intersection of Railroad Avenue, Potomac Street, and SR 611. So then you have the recommendations on the following page, on page 5. Page 5, we're looking for posting of weight limit 10 tons. We have reached out to PennDOT In other municipalities, they do prefer to have some type of weight limit established and not just the old Ghostbusters that has no trucks. PennDOT prefers to have an actual weight limit established, so we followed that guidance from PennDOT. So you'll see there's various signage proposed along 611 at the intersection as you get to Potomac. There's signs at the northern end of Railroad Avenue restricting trucks over 10 tons. And then the same thing at the southern end there, the southeast side of Sunrise Boulevard and the intersection of Potomac. So, and then the following pages are just basically the TE 109. That's the standard PennDOT form that has to be filled out for an engineering and traffic study once you impose traffic restrictions.
So this page 5 is where the signs would go?
Correct, yes. Yes.
Okay. So now, what's the next step in the process that you need from us?
Authorize the solicitor to draft an ordinance to restrict the trucks based upon the engineering study performed by your township engineer.
Do we also have to put the signage in there?
You can refer to the study. But
But-
I'm sure if he wants to specify the actual type of sign, I'll leave that up to Ron if he wants to. Or at least put the weight restriction recommended or proposed.
Any questions from the supervisors?
No, you need this bad up there.
My question is just, it's not actually to this, but would we need this study if we wanted to get the flashing lights put outside of North Bangor Fire Hall, as Todd Pinto recommended at our last town hall meeting? Would this study be warranted for that as well, or could we just throw those up with a...
Is it on state road or township road?
I think it's Township Road.
Strictly township?
Yeah.
You still have to follow. I
Which
thought that was-
road is it?
Yeah.
From
That he wants them on.
from Mincy over to Foxcap. That little short, that's all state.
So yes, it would
That's
need a
all
study.
state.
In fact,
We
the
plow
state,
it sometimes,
Yeah.
but not a lot. We stopped doing it.
so the state would have to agree to that then.
Good luck with that.
You could set up a meeting with Justin and talk about that
Yeah.
with Todd if you want.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions about Justin's traffic study here? Okay, is anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we instruct Mr. Tarasak to go and implement the necessary procedures to implement the weight restrictions in the report submitted by Carroll Engineering.
Into an ordinance.
Into an-
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ron, when do you think you could have that ordinance ready by?
Probably could have it for the next meeting for you guys to look at, make sure it's all okay, and then I could advertise. It's a standalone ordinance, so I would need 7 days before the vote.
Okay, so we can put that on for the 28th, please? Okay, great. All right, next up is the Traffic Advisory Committee. So we have some letters of interest here. Looks like we've got 1, 2,
We got 5.
3, 4, 5. So and Jeff, you're running this PAC, as it's known by, its acronym. So Ron, the question we have, this Traffic Advisory Committee that we're putting together, does it get put together by a resolution? Do we need a resolution in place to officially adopt and recognize the
You should
traffic?
always have a resolution when you are enacting something administratively. In other words, you're doing some administrative function. An ordinance is only required when you're passing or enacting a law. So in this case, I think a plain old resolution would be fine.
Okay.
Just, reciting the background, why the resolution is necessary, and this is what you're gonna do.
Okay, and then after the resolution, if it's passed by the supervisors, then we appoint, or can we appoint now before the resolution.
You should wait till the resolution is in place.
Okay. Okay, so then, yeah.
With that being said, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we draw up a resolution forming a traffic study committee,
Traffic advisory.
traffic advisory committee.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Let me just say, Mr. Chair, that again, Ms. Beckett reminded me that when the EAC was renewed or revived or came alive again, we actually put the names of the individuals in that resolution.
Yep.
However, I think that might be a bit different because that was, again, an EAC in existence. It just had died for a while and there were people there, et cetera. Here, this is a brand-new document and I'm not sure I would want to put names in, especially in the event something would occur and people would change their mind, they move out of the area or something worse, so.
I think we can get a resolution for the next meeting, and if the people are still interested, we can name them, and we can ask for a mission statement from this committee. That's what they propose to do.
You could do a resolution and then leave blank the names actually in the resolution, then you pass the resolution, you then see who you want to appoint, and then just put the names right in the resolution and you're done.
So as per Mr. Karasak's suggestion, that's my motion.
All right, do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, any other concerns?
I just need to let it be known that I must abstain since I'm put my interest in.
You don't have to just.
Yeah, he doesn't have to abstain, he has no financial interest here. Yeah, you don't
No
have to.
different than if you're running for.
Unless you want to, if you want to, do it.
If you're running for an office, you can vote for yourself, you don't have to not vote for yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're not, again, pecuniary interest for you or your family, or you're using the power of your office to somehow give you some type of advantage.
Yeah.
As long as those are not occurring, you're okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna put speed bumps all in front of me.
Well, Supervisor Erler will now abstain from the vote. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up is road crew personnel. Nick?
Basically,
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, pertaining to two personnel issues, I've got a letter of written recommendation from our manager and also from our road crew foreman that Mr. Brock Pearson get a pay increase to the amount of $27.92 an hour. We've heard nothing but good things from him, and I think he should be rewarded. So I'd like to make a motion now that Mr. Pearson be the salary increased to $27.92 and retaining all the benefits that were previously implemented with the union contract.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Nick, any thoughts, any comments?
no, Roger's doing excellent. He's doing a great job. I was just out with him today. He's doing a tree, actually right by Supervisor Ekman's house, and he's a good operator. He's not afraid to tackle anything that Lindsay throws at him. Great kid. He's a good find for us, and hopefully he's the future of this highway department. He's a good kid. I say kid, I mean, he could be my son, but he's not a kid, he's an adult. But he's a good find, and he really deserves it.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the next issue, Mr. Chair, is we would like to appoint another part-time road crew member. It would be up to 25 hours a week, and his rate would be $20.35 an hour with no benefits. We want to try to get somebody in there before winter, so we have the available road crew to man our trucks. The applicant's name is Brain Hanby. Both Nick and I and the assistant and road crew have sat down and interviewed him. He has, I believe, a Class A?
Class, yeah, it says it's Class A.
Town K has a Class A CDL, which would be very helpful. So then I would make the motion that we hire Mr. Grant Handy at the rate of $20.35 per hour for the part-time position, not to exceed 25 hours per week.
Okay, any thoughts, Nick? You
No,
in agreement?
We were in unfortunate circumstances where we saw Grant in action, and he was performing really well. It was one of the silver linings out of one of the bad things that happened in the past month with fires in Upper Mount Bethel. But he's a good kid, he's young. If someone's sick or somebody doesn't make it in a storm, it'd be an asset because he's a Class A. But we want to get him now so we can learn the roads and learn our trucks, learn the equipment, instead of bringing somebody in December and saying, here's a truck, go plow the road. And he goes through Steve Ott's house or something. We don't want that. So,
I like Steve.
yeah.
I like Steve.
Like
in a
Steve
mailbox.
you probably want to let him do it. No, he's a good kid. Another, like I said, Dave and I had actually seen him in action working. And since we have, the union allows us to have an extra 3 part-timers. Our other 2 part-timers do an excellent job. And they really help out with the crew, so I think it would be a great addition to the highway department.
Okay,
And he's been aware of the provisions of his employment.
okay.
And it'd be good to get somebody, younger in there to get behind the wheel and just, I guess it takes a certain, I don't know the word I'm looking for, to plow snow. All right? You just don't hop in a truck and start plowing snow in a tri-axle with a plow in the front.
Okay, well, we got a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Dave?
Congratulations.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll open it up for public comment, 3 minutes. Anybody want to come up for public comment? Yeah, Ron. Nick, you'll tell.
Yes, excuse me.
Still on Highway. One has to wonder what the priorities are of the current board. You're doing long-term financing with the fire department. You're paying legal bills that are exorbitant, not to Mr. Karasak, by the way. Just one, for instance, we spent money that would seem to me as a taxpayer totally wasted. You hired a law firm and a special counsel, or whatever his title was, I'm not so sure I ever did understand that, to babysit the zoning hearing board. Thousands of dollars wasted. Thousands of dollars could have been put towards the fire trucks. So I'm beginning to wonder what is the priorities of the existing board looking into the future. And I think I predicted before you will have a tax increase next year. There's no question in my mind you will have a tax increase. You can't keep spending money on some of these things you spend it on, which is bad enough. But then with the next breath, the things that you should spend it on, you don't spend it on. And that's just not a good way to run this township, in my opinion. And it's kind of sad. I'd like to see everybody on this board working in the same direction for the betterment of the township in a whole bunch of different ways. But I don't see it. For instance, a traffic advisory committee. I know I've used this term before, but it's very appropriate. Coal firemen on a diesel locomotive. What would they advise you? That they don't like traffic? All this is regulated by the state and the federal government. Whatever the traffic advisory committee, and I presume that's to make a few people happy probably, what are they going to advise you? That there's too much dump truck traffic on 611 and 512? Well, we already know that. The question is, can you do anything about it? So I look at some of these things that's window dressing, and the stuff that should be important just gets kind of pushed to the sideline. You say, well, we're going to look into it, and we're going to come up with an answer at the next meeting or the next meeting. There has to be some long-term planning here and some priorities as to how you want to operate and how you want to spend our tax money. We don't mind paying taxes, but we'd like to know our tax money is going for good purposes. Thank you.
Anyone else, public comment? Judy?
So today is Indigenous Peoples' Day, and I know the last time I talked about all the natural assets of our township and all the things that make us who we are, and so these people were here before all of our relatives got here, probably traversing along the river 611, Old Mine Road, whatever. So as you're thinking about the development in this township, I hope you're all really paying attention to the cost of what would appear to be pie-in-the-sky benefits, like, oh, we're going to get this and that. So without mentioning what was in the paper, and I'll just say, I hope all of you are looking really, really hard, and our residents, on what the new greatest thing of data centers would be to us. So just look at that. And I really hate to get up and counteract somebody else, but actually, we don't all think alike, obviously. And I just want to take the benefit to say, for the new Board of Supervisors this year, I think you've done a great job. And it's not up to me to, to assess your value, but I think you've all really tried to research things, looked at it, worked for the people, listened to the people on what we wanted. And so not everybody agrees. But I want to thank you for what you're doing, because again, you're not here full-time every day. This is not a business and you're CEOs. You're here doing whatever you can with the time you have. Thank goodness we've got Nick, who I've always told him he's been a great manager.
Thank you.
And I just think we're doing okay. So don't get down in the dumps when you get criticized. But please, just do your homework on these new so-called developments coming in. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Anyone else, public comment? Marty?
Marty Penner, 39 Lindsay Lane. As a financial guy, I'm a little bit concerned of the township flipping a bill for $900,000, which is 30% of your general fund. I would honestly ask each one of you, who in their right mind, in your daily income and in your own checking account, would you finance 30% of what's in your checking account to a vehicle? Not one of you. If one of you does, I'd love to see your FICO scores. This is absolutely no way to be running a township. There needs to be financial discipline. 100%. The limit of liability. There needs to be forecasting in regards to what we need in terms of taxable income to afford this. It's going to be more than 30% once the fire departments come to you and say, well, we need about 4 trucks over the next 10 years. It's going to be significant money. Love to see the financial plan on how you all are going to do that without raising taxes. That's it.
Charlie?
Charles, excuse me, Charles Cole, 6 Riverton Road. I think you all are doing a great job. You've been in now 8-9 months. You're looking at things that have happened over the past 14 years or more. You're trying to change a direction and maybe an attitude that you're looking after our health, welfare, and safety, looking at maybe costs and benefits of residents that hadn't been looked at before. So hang in there. We're counting on you, and I'm not criticizing you.
Thank you. Anyone else, public comment?
Just have one.
Yeah, Chief.
I'm sure most of you know me and John been working on the ambulance gig.
Chief, just give your name. for
Audubon
those-
Drive, James Potter, Audubon Drive. And I'm sure most of you seen this past week in the newspaper that Knowlton is losing
St. Luke's, which is actually another loss to the township, because they've come over to the borough, the township, Bangor Borough, whatever. So just keep that in the back of your head, and now we'll be down another ambulance in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Jimmy, didn't somebody from Suburban just retire too?
Jeff Young retired.
Oh, Jeff retired, yes.
Yeah, they have the news right here now. Anyone else, public comment? I can't see.
Mark,
Mark,
he's hiding.
I can't see over the podium.
Mark Metzger, 114 Senior Court. You know, a little long-term strategic planning would probably be a good thing, and I think this is really the opportune time to do it, like, starting now. You guys have got a lot of big decisions ahead of you, some of which we've heard tonight, some of which are still yet to come. And the only way you can judge whether or not these things have value for you, for the township, is by weighing them up against that plan. If you need help facilitating it, we can certainly arrange that.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. Roman numeral 11, announcements. Nick, we'll start with you.
Yes, sir. Getting back to 611, if you remember, we put in for a study for the 25-mile-an-hour speed reduction to 25 mile an hour, the Jake brake, and PennDOT finally got back to me and turned down both proposals, so that failed. Anybody interesting in helping with, Ann Flood is having a trash cleanup on River and Riverton Road on October 26th. Myself and Nick Bailey from our road crew are going to volunteer our time to help with safety. It's 10 to 12, it's just 2 hours. We're going to meet at the Township Building. If anybody would like to help out, we're more than happy to have you. Just shoot me an email, townshipmanager@umbt.org. Everyone knows how to get in touch with me, but it'd be great if anybody can come out and support Ann Flood. And I thank her for coming to our town. She picked our township, so I really appreciate that. And that is an area that is needed for cleanup.
What days were those again?
It's one day, Charlie. It's October 26th, Saturday, October 26th, from 10 to 12. We're gonna meet here and stage from here and then shoot down there.
And we have the shred event that same day, right?
Yeah,
So it'll be my announcements, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was gonna mention that, so. And now I'm gonna start every meeting, to remind everybody, our garbage reminder. The bill is due by December 31st. Last year, I know we went into February, but this year, we have the full year, so everybody's responsible to pay their bill. You can get it in by December 31st. There'll be a little lag time because of obviously the post office to the middle of January, but after that, it'll be going to collection. So if you can get the bill in by then, we really appreciate it. All in all, I gotta say, the money has been coming in better than the previous year. And on another note, because it's been mentioned a lot about finances, and our EIT is doing pretty good, and our tax collection is okay. It's pretty much the same every year. We're short around $100,000 every year, and the EIT and the transfer tax is doing pretty good this year. So, which is helping with our budget. We're actually working on our budget right now with Supervisor Albert and Supervisor Freeman are helping me with that. I pretty much completed it, but as we've spoken this morning, and Ron had brought up a good point about the fire, maybe a fire tax, but not maybe putting money into maybe like a machinery fund, so we could help these guys later on, putting money into it every year, not necessarily doing that and creating a fireman's tax, but just an internal tax that we put every year. We put money into that. I think that's a good start. No one's done anything in 20 years, and now this is a good opportunity for us to do something, because things are getting more expensive. We pay their workman's comp. That's $25,000 a year, you know, we give them $200,000, $100,000 each, and $103,000 each. You know, there's expenses, their expenses are increased dramatically. We're going to PSATs tomorrow, John and Dave. Last year, the woman that was speaking about fire, she basically didn't even get to do her presentation because everybody had the same, was pounding her with questions about fire department. So it's not Upper Mount Bethel, it's the whole state of Pennsylvania. And these guys are trying their best. They're great volunteers, and we really appreciate them. The township, speaking for the township, we're fortunate to have these two departments. Again, leaves are falling again. If you want to burn, please call John Bacco, 570-688-6191. I'll say that again, 570-688-6191. He's our burn coordinator. He'll let you know if you can burn or not, depending on the elements, the weather. If you can burn. And I would just ask everybody, just be considerate of your neighbors. In our ordinance, it specifies that the smoke is not supposed to leave the property line. So you see it's windy out and it's flowing into your neighbor's window, that's a good idea to stop. So just be considerate of our neighbors. We live in a rural area. Burning is part of our community, so just be careful with that. And I said about the budget, we should be finalizing that soon. I have it pretty much done, but I'm waiting for them, the supervisors, to take a look at it, and then we should be able to have it done, bless you, by October 28th, as we promised the chair, that we would be able to present it to the community and have them look at it and see if there's any suggestions. And finally, I'd like to thank Mount Bethel and North Bangor Fire Department for all the efforts in putting out an illegal burn on Orchard Road. Especially thank you to Assistant Chief Jim Potter Jr. He did a great job leading and commanding everybody and getting all the other trucks from the other parts of the Slate Belt. I want to thank Lower Mount Bethel Township, Washington Township, Portland. They all came in and acted as a team, completed the effort, put out the fire. It took them, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, I said it was like 50,000 gallons of water. But it was unbelievable to see how everybody came together, and Jimmy Potter should be applauded for what he did. He did a great job of leading that, and we really appreciate them calling that fire, and it helped that community greatly. So that's all I have, but just want to thank our volunteers for the great job that they did. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Supervisor Albert.
No, Nick took my hand flood announcement.
Sorry.
Supervisor Erler.
Yes, East Bangor had their first aid class of CPR and stopped the bleed. 7 Mount Bethel residents attended. It went well. Mr. Freeman was there as well. I would like to start getting together to do one of our own with the fire department's assistance. They have the mannequins, they have a lot of things. They had one that had a pump, so it bleeds, so you'd actually have to pack the wound, see if you put the tourniquet on correctly. We also had a way to identify fake tourniquets if people have them at home, which I later found out I have a bunch. So yeah, I would like to start playing that for the future in Mount Bethel. Wild and Scenic has gone through open spaces and the EAC, and we can only anticipate that it's going to be hitting our desk in the future. One of the only obligations the town has is to appoint a council member. So if anyone would like to become a representative for it, please submit a letter of intent if it does pass, just to prepare us, so maybe we can make the move and satisfy all our obligations if we do vote on it.
And anyone who's interested should send their letter of interest to Cindy, our township secretary, and then coordinate with Supervisor Erler so he's kept aware of who submitted letters of interest, please.
And last but not least, the rut is right around the corner, if it hasn't already started for some young eager bucks. So please drive carefully and keep your eyes open.
They are all over the place. Supervisor Friedman.
I just have a couple items. Our shredding event will be on the 26th from 9 to 12. So if you come down to pick up garbage, you can bring your paper with you if you want it shredded. And also the dumpster. We're having a dumpster issue. I'm guilty myself. I helped an individual unload his sofa there, and I was caught red-handed. But the dumpster, you have to understand that stuff you're bringing down the dumpster to be put out in front of your house on Fridays. As this individual came down, he put in mattresses and bed springs which have to be wrapped, TVs and everything else. But we're filling our dumpster out, and it's unnecessary. You're hauling it down here for no reason. You can put it out in the front of your house. You don't have to put it all out at once. Put it out incrementally, and they'll take it. So, but I caught heck from my secretary. So that's all I have right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks. Supervisor Ackman.
Just the Veterans Day up at the park on the 9th of November from 4 to 6.
Okay, and does Park and Rec Committee, do they need volunteers for that event?
Always need volunteers.
We always need them.
Yeah, because I won't be able for that day.
What time you guys get up there?
I think we'll probably get up there to start setting up around, what, 3, maybe a little before?
I'll be up there at like 1 because of my.
2 o'clock,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay, I'm sure a couple of supervisors
I'll
can
be
give you
there.
guys a hand. Okay, and if anybody else wants to volunteer, just reach out to Supervisor Ackman and let her know. But it's a great event that happens. Patriotic songs, patriotic music, fireworks go off at like 5 or 5,
No,
6. They go off by 6, you're home by 7. I mean, you can't beat that. You know, guys like Ron and I were in bed by 9. It's fantastic. Anything else, Corey?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thanks to everyone who participated in our community-wide yard sale. We had it September 28th and 29th, and then due to the rain, we carried it forward to October 5th and 6th. I think we had, and Chris, thank you for putting together the map. That's a big help. And I think we had about 35 homes. So it was the biggest participation that we had yet. Like Chief Potter was saying, we've been meeting with Centronia Ambulance. They're supposed to get back to us this week with a proposal. Could be next week, but I'll be following up with Bob from Centronia. And then we'll schedule a community-wide meeting with all the surrounding municipalities, and we'll hear Centronia's proposal. We do have a contest that's going to be coming up. I'm announcing it here tonight. It's from Family and Friend Home Care. They do power washing within our township, and they have asked us to run a contest. So if you're a veteran in Upper Mount Bethel, you can submit an email to our township manager. His email address is townshipmanager@umbt.org. If you're a veteran, you'll have to show some kind of proof that you are a veteran, and you'll be entered into our contest. And then on Veterans Day, November 11th, we'll put all the entries into a box or a hat or something, and we'll have a veteran pick out 3 of the entries, and those veterans will get a free power washing on their home. And just a way for this business to say thank you for your service. So nice event that they want to put on. Trick or treating again is October 27th between 2 and 5 p.m. And that same day up at our community park, Mount Bethel Pharmacy is having a trunk or treat. and that's from 12 to 3 p.m. on October 27th. So you can bring your kids to the park from 12 to 2 or 3 p.m., and then you can march them around Upper Mount Bethel to get more candy, and that's a lot of candy, so should be a nice day. Also wanted to thank McIntyre's Tree Service and Image Fuels, and especially the people of Upper Mount Bethel who came down to the township building and dropped off donations. The donations were right after Hurricane Helene, and they went to North Carolina, right outside of Asheville, to a local police department who was going to pass out the donations. They did go down there, they dropped them off, they're back safe and sound, and Nick, thanks for taking everything in, stacking it up, and thank you again to McIntyre's Tree Service and Image Fuels for driving it down. They drove down a tank of gas and a truckload of donations. So thank you guys, and thank you to Upper Mount Bethel. And also we had the free ice cream day this past weekend in Upper Mount Bethel. It was a fun event. I got to drive Chill on Wheels, the truck. I only hit about 4 or 5 mailboxes. All kids were safe, I promise, and they enjoyed it. So we'll do it again. I know I got a lot of pushback from seniors on why they weren't included in the free ice cream day. I want to apologize for discriminating against our seniors, and we will work in the spring to do one for you. This one was for the kids. The next one is for the seniors. We try to please all. That's it for announcements. Cindy, anything on your end? Okay, we're going to go back into executive session, and then we will return. It is 9:08. the museum or something? Okay, it is, what's the time, Cindy? It's 9:42, we're back in session. The supervisors went into executive session, we talked about some legal matters, and there is no action to be taken coming out of executive session.
And just so we're clear, the agenda says personnel, because it really was at my request, because there is litigation that is pending, and I wanted to make certain that who was going to be representing the township and some other attorney-client issues. So it should probably have also said litigation, but that's what we went into.
Okay, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Just a second, could you be more specific? You specifically
I make a
said-
motion, we adjourn.
You said personnel, you did say personnel, okay. But now you're saying you did discuss some legal?
No, it was litigation. Again, it was personnel based upon litigation that has been filed against the township by people by the name of Barnes. So I wanted to be certain what counsel was going to be involved in that litigation, and then there were some legal issues with, or attorney-client issues with that.
And what counsel would be involved?
I'm going to be handling that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned, have a good night all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Dave.